So, welcome everybody, Dreamy Tropical Travel, to our very first travel influencer segment. So, I'm really excited about this one. This travel influencer, and I'll let her introduce herself, but she's going to be talking about her trip to Egypt. And so, like I said, I'll let her introduce herself and we'll kind of get into how that trip went, and she'll give us some insights into how it is to travel in general when if you're a working person and you like to travel, what it's like, and hopefully she's able to give us some tips on that as well. So I'll let this travel influencer introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. My name is Maggie. You can follow me on Instagram. You can find me under dark and lovely _ travelista. And that's it.
All right. So before we get to Egypt, can you tell me some of the other countries that you traveled to? Because I do follow you on Instagram, and so I have I have seen. I'm like, I know we're going to talk about Egypt, but I'm seeing all these other places. So can you tell me about a couple of the other places you traveled to in addition to Egypt?
I've been to Paris. I've been to Greece, Mykonos specifically. I've been to islands, Trinidad, Antigua, Barbados, Bahamas. I've been to a couple places.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So what made you want to travel to Egypt specifically? And would that have been your first time going to the African continent, your Egypt trip?
Yes. So what made me want to go there is one of my friends. She's also she's also a travelista, and she travels a lot, and actually just started her own business traveling.
Oh, wow.
So she had taken a trip earlier in the year to Egypt, and I was just in awe of her pictures and everything that she did, because I was following her trip along with her on her stories. And I begged her to do another trip like that so I can go, since she started her business, and do it around my birthday time. So that's how I ended up going there. And it was my first time to the African continent.
Okay. All right. So what was the flight like? Because a lot of people don't necessarily want to travel to Africa because they feel as if the flight is going to be too long or it's going to be just a big hassle. So like, how was the flight, the hours and all of that? How was that?
The flight was perfect. It was a straight flight there. The total hours is 10 hours, 30 minutes. For me, long flights doesn't bother me. I just sleep. So my thing that I do is I'll start packing for when I know my trip is actually booked, and I'll start packing, throw little stuff in until it's like the last 2 days, which is crunch time. So that I'm putting my outfits together, making sure everything is set. And I'm still working during all of this. So it's literally no sleep. So by the time I check in before I get to the airport. And if I have any bags, I make sure I have my bags and everything so it's to drop and go to my gate. By the time I get on my flight and have my seat, it's knockout time. So it really doesn't bother me that much how long the time is. So yeah, the flight was fine. There was no turbulence or anything. The flight attendants were very helpful and nice. It was a great flight.
Okay, so from what you said, now I have a couple other questions. Okay, so you were saying that you also work during this time, because another thing I hear is like, okay, I only have 2 weeks off. Like I work a 9 to 5, I only have a couple weeks off for the whole year. It's just not feasible for me to travel very much, especially international travel. So like, how do you kind of balance travel with working?
So the way I do it is I love to fly weekends. I use most of my time for my birthday. So my birthday is in October. I'm celebrating for the whole month. That's my time. I'm doing everything. So most of my vacation time I use in October, but I do accrue it over the months up until then. Also, I love to fly when there's holidays. So I'll take off the Friday, and if there's a Monday off, I'm staying until the Monday. I love to fly in as early as possible and take the last flight out. So I still get to enjoy the day before I actually catch my flight going back home, because literally I'm sleeping on the plane. When I'm on vacation, there's no time to sleep. So that's how I balance everything out.
Okay, that's true. That makes a lot of sense. And okay, and then you were talking about packing. So is it a very conservative type of country? Like when you were there, did you feel like, oh, I wish I would have packed, or I need to go buy something more conservative, or did you feel comfortable? What kind of clothes and how did you kind of prepare for the dress there?
So of course I did my research before you get there. Egypt is very laid back. I know with a lot of other Muslim countries, you have to be covered and everything. Yeah. You do have to cover your shoulders, like if you go into certain places. There's no cleavage and anything that can be shown, but it's very laid back. You can wear your shorts, you can wear your tops and everything, but just be mindful not to have like your booty cheeks out and, you know, just be modest, but you can wear certain clothes.
Okay. And what was the hotel like that you guys stayed at? Do you mind sharing the name of the hotel or?
Sure. So we traveled to 3 different cities. We flew in first to Cairo. Our next stop was Luxor, and then we also went to Hurghada. So the first hotel that we stayed in, it was Concord El Saddam Hotel in Cairo. It was very beautiful. You see all the statues and everything, and like pyramid stuff built into the infrastructure. It was very nice. The people were very good. A lot of tourists go there, so it was touristy as well. We also got there and there was a wedding going on, and they were friendly enough and let us come in and watch and join the wedding if we wanted to. So that was good to experience.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Okay. All right. And so what was the transportation like? I know you went to different cities, but like, let's say Cairo, for example, was it kind of like what you see in the United States as far as the infrastructure, like there being stoplights, or was it very much, was it very different? So how was kind of travel like within the city of Cairo?
So the way it was set up, shout out to Dika because she was the tour coordinator. Yeah. And we also had an amazing tour guide, also he's an Egyptologist. So he really gave us like the ins and outs and the history of Egypt. Awesome. We traveled by a private bus. So it was easy. It was just us in the bus. It was no outsiders. And we went to each stop by bus. From Cairo and also to to Luxor. There's no stoplights. It's very interesting. It's basically like a stop and go kind of scheme. So you have the cars, you have the buses, you have the camels, you have horses, everything, motorcycles. It's like a stop and go kind of thing. Everybody goes and knows their own way around. So it was interesting to see that. From Cairo to Luxor, we had the bus. But in order to get there, we flew. So we left Cairo and we flew. It was a 2.5-hour flight. Once we reached Luxor, we still had our same bus, which we took to travel and do the rest of the excursions there. But from Luxor to Hurghada, we took the bus that we had there and drove the rest of the way and then flew back to Cairo to come home.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't too bad.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that doesn't sound bad. Yeah, I went to Ghana a couple of years back, and that's one of the things that really stuck out to me. And that's why I was curious, because I haven't been to Egypt yet. So I was curious if that's something that was also kind of Egypt, like they kind of stop and go, like the honking is kind of a way to communicate, like, okay, you go, let me honk. Yeah, and so that's something that I noticed. So it sounds kind of like it's similar. Okay, that's cool. So what was the most memorable thing that happened on the trip? What's something that really, I mean, that wedding part sounded pretty cool, but was there anything else that was more memorable for you?
For me, so I'm a sunset chaser and like scenery. Oh, that's fine. So when we were in the hot air balloon, we watched the sun come up. We left at like 3 a.m. to catch the sunrise, and just being up in the air, seeing like the aerial view, it was just breathtaking. Like it was really something to remember.
Oh my goodness. And what about the food? Because I'm a big foodie. So
me as well.
What was the food like?
So I went there thinking like the food would be extra spicy or, you know, it really wasn't. There was actually no spice like pepperish to it. It was just seasoned well. Everything was really good seasoned. But it was good. I ate basically the same thing because I have a lot of allergies and like break out oily. So I just made sure I ate the same thing that I think I would be used to. So I ate a lot of chicken, vegetables, the rice. So
that's understandable. Okay, so it sounds like you had a great trip.
I did.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Now it makes me want to go visit Egypt. So,
you should.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things I want to ask you about was being a travel influencer more in general. So I know that term is kind of thrown around, but what kind of made you want to not only take those trips and explore the world around you, but also really document what you've been doing? Like, why is that something that's important to you?
So I've actually got that trait from my mom. As
really?
long as I can remember, she had us outside everywhere traveling when we was little, and she also takes a lot of pictures of everything. Like she's the go-to of the family to get all the pictures from who was a baby, who did this. So I guess I picked up that habit, and still, even with my children and going out anywhere, just like a restaurant, whatever, I've always taken pictures, videos. Sometimes people get sick of me, and I'm like, look, you're gonna be the one to come back and ask me for them, but I just love seeing the world, trying new things. Some things is right around you and they're free and just inexpensible. And you can learn and do so much more. Just history in every city, every country, and everything intrigues me. And it could be, maybe I'll go there once, maybe I won't go there again. Some people might ask and you have the proof to show, or, you know, it's always something to remember and just to have that. So that's what makes me want to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's important because I think traditionally, kind of, especially for African Americans, we haven't really traveled so much, and that exposure is what's really important. And you can just learn so much by just being exposed to just a different environment. And I used to teach, and one of the things I noticed, we took our students out of the neighborhood that they were in, and we took them like across town to, they were doing something, I can't remember what it was, but we took them, it was kind of a far trip. And just seeing like when on the way back, it's like they were quiet, like they were just thinking, like having that exposure to something new, it really is transformative. And so I always am intrigued by people who travel and like, okay, well, what inspires you and what, you know, what does that do to you when you see a different place or kind of taking a different culture, and how that kind of adds layers to you as a person. So I can definitely relate to that. And I definitely admire that. So we're about to wrap up, but one thing I wanted to ask you is what advice do you have to people out there who are like scrolling on Instagram and they're seeing all these pictures and all these destinations, and they're just like, man, I'll never be able to do that. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, or like I have children, I have responsibilities. Like, what is something that you would tell them if they want to live that kind of life and be able to travel? What would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, go out and see the world. Don't have that mindset that you're stuck, you can't. You find a way. Things that people make look so expensive, you'll be shocked to know that it's so inexpensive. And then when you go to these different countries, the currency rate between the US dollar and their dollar, it might be $1 million to one. You never know. So you can live like a king. It all depends. So, but you'll never know if you don't take that chance and go.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, tell everyone where they can find you again. I know you mentioned the beginning of the video. Just let us know again, and we'll also put it in the description of the video so that people can get in touch with you.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Dark and Lovely Travelista. That's spelled DAHKNLUVLEE_Travelista.
All right, and we'll also shout out your the actual travel group that took you there. We'll put that in the description box as well. In case people are, we'll do that. Sounds like they really did a good job. And if you all want,
and also the tour guide, you can follow him as well.
Okay, all right, and we'll get that information from Maggie, and we'll put that in the box. And we're at www.dreamytropicaltravel.com if you want more information about us. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to thank you again. It was really great speaking to you, and I wish you the best of luck in your future travels. Oh, one more question. Where do you want to travel next? Where's one more destination you want to go to?
My next destination is Tulum, so stay tuned.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, all right, Maggie, well, it was great talking to you, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you as well.
All right, bye-bye.